Hello everyone and welcome back to the Workbench. This is a series of videos where I discuss fan history. See, and I thought I was going to do without any outtakes. Hello and welcome back to the Workbench. This is a series of videos where I discuss fan history, trivia, technical information, that sort of fun. In this video today, I'm going to break two rules that are probably going to get broken a lot going forward. One of them is I said I wasn't going to do videos in this series where there are more questions than answers. Okay, I guess that's outtake number 2. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Workbench. As you may know, this is a series of videos where I discuss fan history and trivia and technical information. In this video, and probably a lot of them going forward, I'm going to break two of my rules. Rule number 1 is I said I wasn't going to do videos in this series where there are more questions than answers. I didn't want these to be, what ifs and theories and stuff like that. But what I'm learning the more I research is that there's a whole lot of great information that is confirmed that just simply leads to more questions. And I don't want to omit the good information that is, factually confirmed in favor just because it opens up more questions. And the second rule that I'm going to break is I said I wasn't just going to do a series of videos on fans that I like. We've already done Terra. There's going to be a brief video touching on Island fans. And, I just didn't want to do all my favorite brands. We did Lasco, Sanyo. But today we have A&G Machinery, as you can see behind me. Third rule, I said I wasn't going to have props. And I've got a prop. But there won't be a prop every time just because I don't have a fan for every time. So let's talk about A&G Machinery. This is a company that we know very little about. And I was not planning on doing a video on them for that reason. Also, they seem to be rather small and obscure. And but what I was finding out when I was researching other things, other companies, other fan trivia and stuff like that, I started learning that they're not nearly as much of a small and obscure company as we thought. They were a much bigger player in the ceiling fan industry than we realized. And I think the main reason that we did not realize that is because unlike Hunter and Casablanca and Emerson, they didn't label their fans. They don't say A&G Machinery on them. So there's a whole lot of stuff out there that's connected to them that we didn't even know about. So let's get into it. First, I'll just tell you my brief story. I guess I'm breaking a fourth rule because I said I wasn't going to make these personal anecdotes either. But a lot of you probably know because I had pictures of this motor or one like it on all of my websites over the years saying, what's this? What it was is another fan collector gave me one of these when I was in high school. He didn't know what it was. He didn't care. I didn't know what it was. I didn't really care, but even at that young age, I liked stuff that was kind of weird and obscure and interesting. And so I was like, well, this is different. I'll take it. And was just shocked as I started collecting fans that I never saw another one, never saw anything else like it. And it wasn't until I got some belt drive gear motor fans out of an antique store that came with the manual that said A&G Machinery that we started to get some clues. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's get to the notes. A&G stands for Ackerman Gould. Ackerman Gould was a separate company. Their fan division was A&G Machinery. Ackerman Gould was incorporated in 1959, and they did metal printing and stamping. When we talk about stamped steel fan parts and blades and housings and things of that nature, it's a big stamping machine that makes them, that presses sheets of metal into whatever shape you need. And it also counts if you need letters and stuff. You want literal printing, like a printing press, but in metal. That's all kind of the same technology. It's smushing sheets of metal together. And that's what Ackerman Gould was. They were a company that printed metal parts, and they also made machines that printed metal parts. And if you look on eBay, you can find some of their printing machines. So we don't know when they incorporated A&G Machinery as a company for the simple reason that there are a lot of companies named A&G Machinery. It's a very common name. If you Google A&G Machinery, a lot of things will come up that are not fan related. It's also entirely possible that they never separately incorporated them. We don't know that, but we do know that Ackerman Gould was incorporated in 59. The A&G Machinery fans first show up in 1972. And those are the ones that I talked about that I got from an antique store. They're a copy of a plain Westinghouse, just black crackle paint, blade irons attached to a flywheel with a gear motor with a belt inside, plain wood blades, integrated schoolhouse globe, lighting canopy, just a very basic. There's a similar one that's probably a relabel, to be honest, in the museum called Ruby Fan Company, but that style, that showed up in 1972. A&G Machinery was not mentioned by name. It was called the Fanlite. One word, Fanlite. And it could be optioned with or without a motor. It was sold just to be decorative. You could have it with a slow decorative speed, or you could have it just as a thing that you hang. And again, this was 1972. So it was sold purely as a decorative accessory. In 1973, the same fan was introduced with the option for cane blades, and the model was called the Casablanca. I'm going to come back to this in a little bit. In 1974, it was introduced, again, the same fan, just a plain Westinghouse copy with an integrated light fitter, gear motor, or not, or no motor, and really nothing to differentiate it from the Westinghouse other than the integrated light fitter and the really chintzy downrouting canopy. Introduced in 74 in chrome with mirror blades and was called the Contemporary Classic. In 75, it was introduced in brass and it was called the Regency. In 1976, there were no new models introduced, but all the existing models were given model numbers. The Fanlite was AG1, the Contemporary Classic was AG3, the Regency was AG5. Oh, I misspoke. There was a new model introduced in 1976. It was the BG1 Tornado, which was their first fan to have a legitimate motor in it. Crap, because I missed a lot of things. I guess this is another outtake. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Workbench. This is a series of videos where I discuss fan trivia and history and technical information. So in this video I'm going to break some rules that I set up before, and I'm probably going to break a lot of them going forward. The first rule that I'm going to break is I said I was not going to do videos where we had more questions than answers. I didn't want these to be videos where there's just theories and surmising and stuff like that. But the reality is, as I've been doing research, you learn things, and then when you learn something, sometimes that presents another question. And I don't want to omit the things that I've learned just because they open up more questions. So this video will have lots of new information, but it will also have some unanswered questions. Second rule that I'm going to break, I said I wasn't going to just do a series of videos on fans that I like. And we've already done Terra. We've already done Lasco Sanyo, Dayton Lascos, and today we're going to talk about A&G Machinery, which is probably if I had to pick a favorite fan, this would probably be at the top of the list. It's tied with a few others, but this probably gets the win. So, we're going to break those rules. I'm going to break a third rule and give you a quick personal anecdote, which is you've probably seen pictures of a motor like this on the various websites that I've had over the years with, you know, what is this? We called it the I fan because these are like a uppercase letter I, and we didn't know anything about them for years. And we figured it was just probably a pretty small, obscure company. And until recently, I think we all did kind of think that A&G Machinery was a small, obscure company. But as I've been doing research, I've been learning that there were a much bigger player. Nope, this is another outtake.